So if it's true that goals make us feel good, goals are the key to, or a key to mental health, to performing better, to connecting better, why do we wait? Why do we wait? We all have stories like this, I'm sure, but it's a very common narrative to hear of someone who almost loses their life. Someone who loses someone close to them. Someone who gets through a really hard relationship breakup or a professional transition, let's say. And if those people come through to the other side with the right attitude and the ability to take action, they're the ones that go and climb a mountain or write a book or start a company or say, I love you, or learn to play ukulele, or to say, I'm sorry. Why do we wait for that moment? I've got a friend in the US, his name's Tal, T-A-L. He's a flight attendant. And at the age of 32 years old, he was diagnosed with a very late stage cancer and given 6 months to live. And the doctor said, there's nothing we can do for you. You just have to say your goodbyes. 32. So Tal, driving home, decided that he wouldn't just say his goodbyes. He would spend his last 6 months on the planet as a 32-year-old and prioritize his one goal that he'd always pushed to the side. And for him, it was to go on a global shopping spree. It's all he ever wanted to do, but just never did it. Tal had no money, by the way. So instead of going directly home, he went to 4 different banks and got 4 different credit cards, which he got really quickly. And then he took off on a global shopping spree for the last 6 months of his life. He went everywhere. He went around the world. Paris, Tokyo, Milan, Sydney, everywhere. New York, buying hats and shoes and watches and socks and whatever else. Cummerbunds. In his last 6 months, Tal accumulated a debt of $90,000 US. And do you think he regrets it? No, of course not. And you know the end of the story. Tal survived. Yeah. Healthier than he's ever been. He's in his 60s and is in huge debt. But equally, he's fantastically well dressed at every event. And when I said to him, do you regret that? It was very funny. I said, do you regret that? And without missing a beat, he said, no. The moment I was told my life was in jeopardy was the first moment I actually gave myself permission to live properly. An interesting thought. What is it about these dark moments that offer such a profound opportunity for change? I would argue that adversity gives us perspective. As individuals, as families, as companies, organizations, as humans. COVID, a relationship breakdown, whatever it might be, losing someone, being diagnosed, these are all opportunities to take action. They're reminders that there is a ticking clock, a clock that we don't have control of, on all of us. And although we don't have control of how much time we have left, we are in control of what we do with the time that we have right now. And that's really interesting. I think it poses a lot of macro questions. How do I want to live my one and only life? How do I want to show up? How do I want to connect? What kind of friend, partner do I want to be? How do I want to really apply myself in the workplace? Do you almost have to die to consider this? No. Tal gave himself permission, a split-second decision to think about ourselves. Permission, we can all do that. To take a step back, pause, which we're allowed to do, and just reflect. How did we get to here? We can't change any of this as individuals, as organizations. Can't change any of it, but it's good to know how. What's happened to get us to this point? And now we're here. How are we doing? How are we doing right now? In the seat, are you happy? Are you performing? Are you proud? And a million other simple questions. And if you keep going in this direction, will it take you to a place where you are feeling good, where you get to achieve that goal, the thing that's important to you, in and out of the workplace? And if the answer is yes, that's great, obviously. Go back in, press play, and enjoy that. But if whilst you're pausing and reflecting and now you're realizing, actually, that's not going to get me to the place, that's not going to allow me to do that thing that I'm really jazzed about, well, change has to occur. And that has to occur now. And it's a beautiful thing. An opportunity to reimagine an alternative path forward. Change is inevitable. The best part is we get to create it. Have we thought about this question lately? Would anyone be game to just yell out to me and the room, your biggest goal? And I'll be silent. Sail the 7 oceans. Thank you, sir. Just the one person with a goal in here? What is it? Be the president. Meet or be? Be the president. Oh, great. Be the president of the United States. Why not? Anyone else? I heard you laugh. Have you got a goal you want to share? Build another house? Fantastic. Well, I know there's more than 3 goals because I asked you on a Google form before the event. And these are some of the answers. Look at these. Taking my parents and brother on an epic 50th anniversary trip for my folks, win a national championship as a coach, complete a 6-day horse riding trek on the North Island of New Zealand. I want to learn how to drive a boat, get back to my consistent exercise routine and work back. All these goals are fantastic. They're also very different, which brings up an important point. Goals have to reflect every aspect of our lives, professional and personal and everything in between. And I'm, of course, in this role, I suppose, of I really like being a part of the journey for people. And so I just took the liberty, very quickly, to show you how easy it is to action a few things. So for Lorenzo, who wants to play at Pebble Beach Golf Course. Is Lorenzo here? There he is. If you get that QR code, that'll take you to the bookings page for Pebble Beach. I just looked at it before this talk. There's an opening on Friday the 21st. And Friday the 13th this week, and Saturday the 21st next week. Look at that, Lorenzo. Wow. You don't need to, well, you can clap, sure. Yeah, I mean, sure. Where do you live, by the way? Do you live in California? Mexico. Okay, that's close. For Scott, he wanted to do a boat course. I don't know where Scott, if you want to put your hand up. There he is. Yeah, so I did some research on you via the majesty of LinkedIn. Are you from Pennsylvania? Yeah? Oh, fantastic. I stalked you. If you click on this will give you, take you to the bookings page to get your boat license in Pennsylvania, and you can then, of course, enjoy a lovely day out on the water. Doesn't happen all the time, but my sources tell me that is in Pennsylvania. And then an anonymous gentleman in the room did share that he wanted to propose to his girlfriend. And so, of course, by the way, no pressure, but I took the liberty of creating a moment where maybe I'm not going to make eye contact, but now... Okay, next week. Okay. The idea here is we can all take action on our goals pretty much immediately. We can. And we're going to talk about this in the breakout session later for anyone who cares to join. We can take action now. And I want to sort of just show you this with a thing that I think everyone enjoys, and that's crowd participation. Yeah? Oh, someone just sighed. Oh. I want you all, internally, mentally, to identify a goal that's important to you. Could be anything, by the way. Could be short-term, could be long-term, could be very complex, could be very simple. Could be entirely selfish. It could be entirely selfless, something for your family, perhaps. Could be professional, could be personal. So just look at me and stay silent if you have that in your head. Good. Now, I want you to share that goal with the person next to you. But wait, the reason I'm going to get you to do this is because research out of Harvard tells us that if you share a goal once with a stranger, the likelihood of you achieving that goal increases by 42%. By the way that we operate and show up to our own lives, there is a ripple effect for others. And when we talk about others, we start to talk about community. We start to consider this term culture. And that can be our families, that can be our general geographical community, or it could be our workplace, our clients, our colleagues, etc. And so what can we do to ensure that we start developing a thriving culture where everyone wins? Well, the first is easy. We lead by example. We've started to talk about this already. One of the best examples I can think of is Braveheart. Who's seen the movie Braveheart? Right. You may take our lives, but they won't take our freedom. Exactly. How inspirational. Galvanized a nation of farmers and family men to fight against the English and influenced a lovely Scottish accent. Just by the way he operated. What can you do to inspire people by the way that you operate? Well, stand proudly by your list. Take action with courage on all of the things that you've identified as meaningful to you. It's not selfish, it's important. And by virtue of being passionate, you have the potential to unlock that in other people. And let me tell you just quickly that it's needed. Currently in the US workforce, 38% of employees are underappreciated. 77% said they would work harder if they received recognition. A company with healthy workplace culture, including valuing their employee, will increase revenue on average by 4 times, and so on. What does this show us? That in or out of the workplace, as people, we want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be given a voice, we want to be understood, we want to be acknowledged and valued. And so as leaders of a family, people in a community, or of course in the workplace, how do we do that for others? Well, we give them a framework that allows them to show who they truly are, to discover and be who they are. We support that. We create the opportunity and inclusion for them to come along with us on the journey. Braveheart didn't just inspire, because inspiration is not enough by itself. He equipped people to then take action. Bucket lists in the workplace is something that I'm very passionate about. I've been doing it, as I said, for 3 years. And working with people over a 5-week window, simple goal setting and striving techniques, we've seen that feelings of happiness increase, purpose with work tasks, connection to peers, work-life balance, all of these things improve in a 5-week period by simply allowing people to understand who they are and set meaningful goals around that. Motivation, engagement, optimism, productivity, it all shoots up. And you can do this tomorrow with your family. You can do it on Monday with your workforce if you like. Allow them to identify what the spokes on their wheel of life are. Get them to identify 1 goal per spoke. Allow them to create an action plan. Encourage them to talk to somebody about that, and encourage them then to take action on that goal every day for the next week. And then most importantly, come back at the end of it to talk to one another. Many of you are in these peer groups at MDRT, and I couldn't encourage you to really lean into that even more. I guarantee that if you do this over a 7-week period with people in your family, your friends, or your colleagues, you'll do it for a 2nd week, a 3rd week, and a 4th week, because you will feel seen, valued, acknowledged, as will those people around you. Which brings us on to the last step of a thriving culture, and that is giving each other access to one another. Like we are doing right here in this room now. Once you've inspired people by the way you lead your life, once you've allowed them a framework to come along with their journey as individuals, you then give people access to one another, and that's why this event's so special. Seeing you talk and learn and inspire each other is special. When our individual pursuits become a collective pursuit, we see that individual growth leads to collective transformation. What are the benefits to being able to identify important goals in our lives? Well, from a mental health perspective, the ramifications of chasing meaningful goals is quite profound. Think of, in your seat right now, the last thing that you did that was meaningful to you. The last goal that you achieved that was meaningful. It could be by yourself. It could have been with a family member. It could have been with friends. It could have been with a stranger. It could have been with someone in this room. It may have even been with a client. And I really want you to think, what is that thing that you did that mattered? Okay? So you think of that. Now, try and remember how you felt when you got there and you managed to check that goal off. How did you feel? You probably felt an immense sense of satisfaction. You probably felt accomplished. You may have felt like the most successful person in the planet. You may have felt proud. You may have felt very effective or efficient. Good, yeah, I'm glad you did. So from a mental health perspective and through the lens of science for a second, it's partly to do with this. When we strive for a meaningful goal, dopamine and serotonin are released into the body. They are pleasure chemicals. They make us feel good. Dopamine makes us feel present. It's motivating. It feels so good that it actually becomes addictive very quickly, but in a good way. Serotonin, interestingly, reduces depression, regulates anxiety, boosts confidence. It makes us feel happy. If I took away the word dopamine and serotonin from this slide, took away the brain, and I just said, I have a drug which will give you all of these benefits, would you consider taking it? Probably, but I want to tell you this. You don't have to have a drug to feel this way. You don't even actually need to achieve a goal because dopamine and serotonin are released into the body the moment we set a goal. And all the way through the goal-striving process. Those feelings of accomplishment, of satisfaction, of feeling immensely proud of yourself, that happens from the moment you consider a goal. That's interesting. And why does that matter to us? Well, it's important because goal setting makes us feel good. It allows us to feel good, which allows us to perform better for ourselves and then for others. Creating a bucket list, if you will, is not selfish. It's essentially selfless because when we feel better, we are better for those around us.